This is Community Formation, a podcast made by and for the Twilight Imperium Community.
Getting custodians is just a little heavy for me, man. I don't know. Maybe I like to be coming from behind, but I've gotten custodians in two of my recent games, and I feel like everyone's just at least a little bit less nice to you over it. Gonna be honest.
No, it's for real. For real.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're really onto something there. I mean, I was about to call you chicken or something. I was about to be like,
too.
what are you,
Absolutely.
chicken,
That's
bro? You're not
unrelated
going to
to
go
this.
for custodians? Yeah. No, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but that being said, I don't think that's going to change anything for me as far as trying to get custodians, because I do it all the time.
I mean,
do it all the time.
Doing it. I just
any chance
it's
you can get, you should do
part
it.
of the game, but it's just I don't know, man. I don't know.
So I mean,
what? No.
Okay, so what did they do to you? What
it's
happened?
just I got it up. Bort, the nicest guy ever, just played Uprising on me. What's really funny about that is he plays Uprising on me in this game, and in this other game he's like, I'm voting for my ride or die Frox for this one, and he gave me that one where you can have to play your secrets fake stuff, but I had two really bad secrets.
Oh,
so
search warrant.
Yeah, search warrant. He gave me search warrant. And that's going into round 5, and I had 2 unscored secrets, and I'm at 7. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. People are doing that kind of stuff. It's the little bit of violence and the little bit of pinpricks that in this boat float kind of deal that I'm typically swimming in. The pinpricks, people are kind of more okay with it,
Man, they pricking you.
That's okay. I'm somewhat of a prick myself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There you go.
No, man, how's life? What you been up to, man? I know this episode is a little behind our quote-unquote release quota we set for ourselves.
For sure.
So achievable.
For sure.
But you had a little vacation? What's going on? What happened? Where'd you go?
I was on vacation. It's kind of funny because when we play our recording with our homeboy, Big Al, later, very big deal this episode. We're going to have Big Al on the episode. We recorded that before I went on vacation, and I feel I don't know, maybe you'll see it in me, completely different vibe. I'm just feeling great right now, hella relaxed, just was surrounded by love and positivity and all these people that I used to live with, and it was awesome, dude. It was awesome.
That's sick,
dude.
man.
Went to this punk rock show. Oh man, no, I gotta tell you, this is the one story I'll tell you. This group that I used to play with, the homeboy, the bass player, he's like, oh yo, you gotta come check the show out. We're doing an Alice in Chains cover band to start the show.
Sick.
Those videos that I sent was the closing act, but this he's singing for whomever the guy was in Alice in Chains, he's doing his voice already sounds like that guy's voice naturally, and then he's been working for over a year on perfecting the vocal delivery. And dude, it took me back literally to the mid 90s, man. I haven't heard
Lane Staley. That's the lead singer.
There you go. There you go. No.
How can I forget Lane Staley? What a memorable name. Anyways, no, but he was listening to. But it took you back listening to him. It took you back. Sorry,
I haven't. Dude, the thing is that I haven't heard some of these songs in
oh my God.
15 years. Literally that long. So it took me all the way back. It was a very heavy emotional experience. Just unleashed my angsty side, my angsty child side. Wow,
Nah, dude, I totally get that. This band wearing this shirt on their last tour a year ago this September, saw them live for the very last time, and forever. But bands aren't come back. But yeah, dude, I got emotional during that show because I knew it was the last time, and they're playing this song called "Where'd All the Time Go." You're oh my God, this means so much now. Where did it go? So no, I get that, man. It just, God, you went on a way better journey than I did. Yours was hype. Mine was a little melancholy, but
mine was hype, bro.
No, that sounds sick. I missed a good punk show. Have you ever heard of? Oh my God, they sing Crack Mountain. Hold on.
No, never heard of that one.
Live show.
Never heard of that one.
Sick live show. I mean, they're literally vomiting. Natural Child. Yeah, they vomit on stage. They usually show up so drunk and stuff, but they just puke in a bucket and keep going. It's wild stuff,
that sounds like an episode of South Park. Is what that sounds like. Is it really that?
Have you ever heard of the Black Lips? After we get done doing this, I don't want to tell this story on, but that was an episode of South Park.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Anyways.
Absolutely incredible.
But yeah, man.
Yeah.
You know, I guess we kind of have like an episode to get to. You know, there's
Oh,
great
sure.
people here. They don't hear about our lives. I mean, maybe they do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe we
Yeah.
have a cult going on. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet. Check in next
One day.
week.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Have our conversation with
Oh,
our
God.
speaker today, BigAlCupAChino.
Big Al. Yeah.
Oh man.
I want to form a cult with that guy. I'll tell you what.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, well, let's face it. I think he's like already kind of like gaming us into one, right? The cult of 55 is what I'm going to call it, instead of 45, of course. So I'm thinking
right.
like,
His
you know, we're going to wrap that up.
cult.
But the boat floating cult.
The
It's literally
boat
just like
floating
everyone hang out.
cult.
Oh man. I don't know. Maybe we get Bort in it. We'll just call it a Bort floating cult. But we'll just rope up and sip mai tais, and we learn maybe you don't want to be drinking, but I don't know. It'd be a really good time. But we hang out with him later today, and that is to talk about the TI Global League.
Global League. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and it's something that was like blowing up so fast. Like it's been going on the Aussie server, the Cool Guys hideout. It's been going on the Aussie server for like a while. Like I looked.
Well, not the
back.
global.
Well,
asset.
no. But they are. What I'm trying to say is that they already had a league. They had their own league. So it's like they were like doing the demo version of this whole thing. And then the Global League like got born out of that, like this new thing started up, and then that started to pick up steam so quickly that it was literally like Frox like messaged me and he's like, we have to cover this. You know, it's just like you got to strike while the iron is hot. You got to do that. So
yeah, and I mean I think it'd be great for Big Al to talk at length about it. Like if you're gonna watch this episode, like at least watch it for the first 20 minutes where he kind of did an FAQ talking about like everything, get a good intro to it, and like kind of like his long-term goals for it. I mean it's very ambitious, but like what isn't big with Big Al? There's a reason he's called Big Al, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. And I mean I signed up for it. I'm in 3 async games. I'm gonna try to get like one thing.
I finally did.
One in person.
I
did?
finally
Hell
did.
yeah!
I finally did it. Yeah. Let's roll on to the first segment. Galactic Crisis Pact. Game 4's over. The Franken game has finished, and who won? It was the big bad guys, the Roses, won. Brian's team, after eliminating a faction entirely, they ended up getting the W. And I don't know, was there anything to stop them? Because I know Zayu just kind of tapped out. Like with the game.
Well, you all popped the balloons. First action.
We did that. So we did one
there
cool
2
thing.
War Suns and 12 fighters.
That was very satisfying actually.
So we used facts and logic to talk. Not really, or just like they got a chance, and they did have a chance even without that. No, I mean, well, the memes will tell what really we statistically should have stopped them.
Oh, I get it because Welland was a tech skip, and they were going for 3 tech skips, right?
Well, and it would have knocked them off ships in 6 systems.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Wow.
It was a double whammy.
Yeah. No, big time. Mm-hmm. Dang. So I mean, so that game's over. What is going to go on for the next game? Do you know?
We don't really have a talk. We don't really know yet. I think we're throwing around a little bit of a palate cleanser, topical. But what we're doing, and I mean, I personally am for this, and I'm really glad people are still chatting over there every day in the community game server. September 11th will be the beginning of the next game, and they'll do a bit of an announcement what's going to be beforehand. I mean, we just did back 4 games, and I personally was I was captain in 2.5 of them, and like the third game, my third one, game 4, I was very, pushed out. Game 2, I was burnt out at the end of, and then game 3, I was reinvigorated, ready to go, and then my whole team dropped out except for me and Brian, and it just became, me negotiating with 5 other factions 24/7, and it's just nice to have a break. I'd say. I mean, I really, really, really enjoy the format, and I urge anyone who's on the fence about joining. Like, worst case scenario, you make a friend. That's
a really good. That's a really good point to bring up. No, I dig that. That's a great way to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sounding like stressed out and burnt out, I'm gonna keep doing it because like my friends are doing it. Yeah, it's like a drug.
Yeah,
I
dude.
can't quit
I'm
you.
getting like peer pressured into this shit, man. Yeah, I'm getting peer pressured.
Not even
Yeah.
peer pressure. It's
No.
fun.
No, but for real, I totally see next game being a palate cleanser, like I would just be down for like 6-player, multi, just standard, like let's just play a normal game.
Well,
and
some of
just
the
have-
toss-up was for an alliance game too. That did
Oh,
enter into the
that-
chat, so it'd be like,
Okay, that could be
I think
fun.
that'd be intriguing.
That
yeah,
would
but
be
it's not, I
intriguing.
think, so different that it would, harass the format. I think. I
Sure.
think that'd be okay.
Sure. No,
Maybe we'd
I
have to have
totally
some
dig
special
that.
community game rules on top, but we'll see.
Totally.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then for game 6, I think it's pretty likely that we'll see a Fog of War. I think
Well,
it's pretty
it's like
likely.
our retirement. It keeps getting pushed back.
Keeps getting pushed back, but I mean, we'll see. I mean,
I appreciate it.
The Fog of War game that I'm in is just picking back up pace wise, and I know that the other Fog of War game has ended. So they have a whole game's worth of perspective and feedback to be able to.
The way that you're doing it is going to be different than the way the community game is going to do it, based on
totally.
my understanding of it all. Because like Wecker's working on like a bot, and it's different from the async bot.
Oh no,
But
totally.
this one will specifically be made with Fog of War in mind. So
Yeah.
either way would be incredible. It just seems like the way you're doing it. And hopefully I know Spoon's going to be on the Big Boy podcast most likely based on the Galactic Council poll, but I'd still love them to come on and just bullshit with us about maybe
Of
even
course.
just, instead of async stuff, frog stuff. So
Oh sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean that would be cool. Like maybe when my game finishes, like we would be able to
Yeah.
bring him on and be like, so what was different between the two games?
yeah, that's
I
a
think
good call.
that'd be tight. That'd be tight. Yeah.
No, that's really tight.
Word.
Well, we got any more community stuff to kind of wrap through? Or are we gonna power
Oh
on?
man, I don't know. I just want to congratulate Brian and Hadron. Like what?
Mhm.
Oh, I just.
And Jasper.
Yeah. Oh,
He was
Jasper,
on the
of
team.
course.
Oh,
Jasper.
and Petra.
And EJ, of course.
Yeah, oh, well. By the way, EJ Appreciation Month. Shout out to
Yeah.
our boy EJ.
Shout out
Good-
to the
Good
boy.
human being.
Yeah,
Excellent human being. Sexiest man I know. By the way,
Word.
sexiest
Word.
man I know.
Hundy P. Yeah.
100p. Well, I do have one other thing.
Yeah.
This is actually the most important part of the segment.
Uh-huh.
Give us your award nominations,
Yes.
people. We want to know for the community game who won what award. It can be a stupid award. No one's ever going to dethrone me as most messages in that server. But other awards are up for grabs.
Yep.
Like literally.
So we're talking
Anything.
like
I don't
high
care.
school superlatives, like
Oh God! Oh please.
Most
Please,
likely
the
to succeed.
The cornier, the better.
yeah.
Absolutely.
it.
Most likely to succeed. That's you, Brass. Look at that hair. Come on now, buddy.
Oh, yeah, don't mind me.
I am a non-male, non-balding male.
There you go.
Anyways,
There you go.
uh,
Hell yeah. Well,
hell yeah,
yeah.
brother.
So I
Yeah.
think that's all for me. Contact us if you're in community game. Tell us what you think. Who deserves which awards for
Mhm.
Game 4, the Franken game?
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to Articles of War. Da-da-da-da-da. This one's gonna be kind of a short one this time because guess what? It's a SCPT tournament update, and the tournament's done. Tournament is over. It is done for the year, and what a year it was. I mean, obviously, we talked a lot about it last time. I mean, we can just go ahead and spoil like what happened with the game, right? With the finals. game.
I missed the very end of it. Actually.
Oh, really? Oh, actually, I
Yeah,
think
man,
I missed
that
the
was,
very end of it too.
Apparently, the last 15 minutes was pure insanity. And
Oh
we need
my
to watch
god!
It.
Oh,
But,
totally, totally.
we are the everyman because you know what? A lot of people probably didn't, and we
Mhm.
need to watch it. Well, the good news is this upcoming Sunday, August 21st, we'll be in the seat with a finals player.
Oh yeah,
So-
yeah. No, totally. No, we will totally.
Maybe
talk
maybe
about
have
that
him
right
maybe have him relive his traumatic moment of finally making the finals, and well, which
Yeah.
the outcome wasn't what he had hoped for, I suppose.
now. We'll go ahead and
Mhm.
spoil it right now. Who won? It was Jono playing
man.
the Mahat.
Our man Big Al
Gene
Cappuccino's
What?
our man Big Al Cappuccino's ride or die.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, yeah.
Hell yeah. No, Jonna was playing Mahawked and was pretty just like shrewd and patient. And you know what? He's a pretty good talker, is what I'll say about him. The boy has got a silver tongue, you could say.
It's not just that. I think he played really good fundamental TI. Just kept himself like in good spots. Never really showed too much weaknesses. And the silver tongue on top of that was, well, you know, it got on the big W. And that's all. You know, something you and I can't say.
Totally.
So.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude, when you're playing a game like that, it's really like another level, and it was long too. I mean, it was just grueling in its length, you know. And when you get up to that level, it just takes a level of endurance and fortitude that is hard to manage, hard to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. And props to Jono. And we had to cut the having Drago on talk stats this time because, well, Big Al and I, we like to talk and interview went along, but we'll have Drago back probably next week and probably dive in for like a little tournament wrap up, clean up, and see what lies ahead. Maybe.
Yeah, totally. You know what I want to do is start talking about the Invitational.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
well,
because
we're invited, right? We're gonna be invited. Come on. We're gonna be invited. We're gonna have to be.
I'll be invited. No, I will be invited to be the clown in the corner. You know what I mean? Like everyone point and laugh at the little monkey.
That's fine. Can I be your pie guy? Like the guy who hands you the pies to throw at people?
Yeah. No, I think this is
it's
the only way we're getting in, baby. It's the only way we're doing it.
And you know what? That's fine with me.
For sure.
That's totally fine with me.
No, I dig. But no, who are you looking to see in the Invitational? Like, who you think's like a good player that's going to be able to make it in?
I mean, you gotta have Humble, right? Like, I don't know, like just because he's so divisive, he's gonna get clicks. Man, I really would like to have like a Micmac Moose Big Al table. Like,
of course.
Of like play styles, I would really enjoy that. As far as like named players, man, off the top of my head, I mean, Shavnir, I think every game I've ever played with him, he's hung around.
Yeah.
He's stayed near the top of the pack and been right in the mix right at the end. So he's there. I don't just want to name my friends. I mean, obviously, I think Duke Lukem is always going to be in the conversation.
Oh, sure.
Which way you slice it up.
Sure.
But is there any like I mean, Shavnir's like the one that I know, but anyone off the top of your head that like always seems to be like in the mix, you think would be in the Invitational?
I mean, I just got to root for my boy Kaluan. Every day, all the time, every day, all the time. He just won an async game that I'm in, and I said this funny stuff because there was like a point earlier in the game where we were like, well, maybe we should do something against Kaluan. He's like just so good. He's so good. And then I made these jokes about like how good Kaluan is at TI. And one of them was like, I'm convinced that Kaluan could win this game if he just entered random numbers and letters for every bot command. You know?
I'm in a game with him, and we're in round 4, and Mutiny happened, and he had 3 points as Winu. And he may have a 7-point round to win the game.
Yep. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
I'm the Hawk, and I have the Yssaril Commander, so, like, I can prevent it. But the fact that, like, it is feasible for the guy.
Yep.
Oh, and we had, what's the one where you show a stage 1 or stage 2, and we voted a stage 2
incentive program.
Incentive program. We voted that out there. So it's round 4, so there is a 2-pointer involved in all that math, by the way.
Of course.
But still, he's incredible.
Yeah.
That's a great way. I don't even think he's a mid-tier player because I just think he's so good. That's why I didn't even think about that. But yeah, Alice, talk about Alice.
Oh, totally.
I think it'd be really fun to see. And Jade, that's it. Jade is who I want to see more play of. Although this past weekend with that Teddy game where Jade was in that too. So that's kind of my little list there. Is there anyone else you can kind of think of off the top of your head?
I mean, you took
JJ.
Oh, totally. I mean, I'm always rooting for JJ.
Be in there. I think he's an incredible player.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And the memes.
Yeah, of course. But you took the words out of my mouth with Alice was the other person I was going to root for, 100%. But no, JJ is a great option. We love that boy. We love that boy. That's what I'll say.
How could we not?
Yeah.
How could we not?
Yeah, totally.
But I think that kind of wraps up our tournament gears.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to our next segment unconventional measures. We're going to be playing a Franken game. We are in the middle of a roto draft, meaning every single component is on the table to be drafted. And at this point, we're actually like almost done with the draft. And on the 21st at some time, we're going to be streaming
Eastern.
the game in Eastern. Wait, no, can you say
10 o'clock Eastern
10
in
o'clock
UTC,
Eastern.
so it'll be +4, so it would be
1400?
1400 UTC. Yep.
1400 UTC, August 21st.
Mm-hmm.
Whose Twitch? Is it?
I think I'm gonna make us one. Make us one.
Wait, really? Oh, okay.
Just make us one. Yeah, like make community formation. I mean,
All
because
right.
we've talked about maybe streaming some qualifiers this upcoming year. So
Did we?
we did.
Okay.
You and I, yeah, we did talk about that, man.
Okay, cool.
Well, I mean, maybe
All
you
right.
don't want to. I'll do it myself.
No,
I'll start the wall
I
talk.
just can't
kidding.
I just can't remember having the conversation. But no,
You're fine.
I'm down. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's make a Twitch, and we will spread the link out there. Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I think we should get Prepar to cast it.
Oh, that would be tight. No, are you kidding me?
That's his
no.
work day. It'll be Monday for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course.
We can't do that too. We
God,
can't do
you
that
got my hopes up, man. It would just
I know.
because it would be him and his fucking Sfeel Pokemon doll. It
Well,
would be
he
like
yeah.
he would have them and like in front of the webcam with him.
Mhm.
I'm just here with Sfeel, and then it's like like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, we got that going on. It'll be pretty tight. I mean, it's not traditional back draft. We did roto, like you said, so
Mhm.
it's kind of fun because you get the counter draft going on, like a little bit of hate drafting, a little bit of oh my god, that monstrosity over there. I'm gonna try to make sure it doesn't happen, and I'm not gonna totally spoil it. We've talked about it in a few of the discords, but maybe just gotta come around and see what someone made this monstrosity of a concept. I'm gonna say.
I'm going to spoil it and say it's JJ.
Yeah.
JJ's a monstrosity.
When we say JJ, we're talking about Jadeem Jedi.
Jadeem
by
Jedi.
the way.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we call him JJ because, well, we have no clue.
It's because it's cute. That's why. It's cute. That's why we do it.
I didn't want to say
it's
that.
cute. JJ.
No, for sure. But
No.
now for the other portion of this.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We do need to focus up. We do kind of want to give a little bit of a lead in for our episode next time.
Yes.
With our speaker, who's going to be Phil Roy.
Yes, Phil
barring
Roy.
scheduling snafus. Of course.
I have been wanting to have Phil Roy on to talk about this like ever since we had the concept for this show to do.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're going to do something that's based on talking to community members about cool stuff they're doing. I want to have Phil on.
Literally first thing you said, by the way, guys. I'm not joking about
100%. So I'm really excited. So to get everyone stoked for the whole idea of it, I found on hold on, what's the name of the server? It's called the Homebrew Hub.
Homebrew Hub.
Homebrew Hub. Yeah, that's the name of the server. Phil's got a lot of his nobility stuff in all these various channels on that server, and I found this list of it's like his latest description that he has. So it's like a bunch of different bullet points, kind of breaking down all this different stuff about it. And I would just like to kind of kick it off. And we're just going to read the whole bulleted list to you. Back and forth is what we're going to do. Cool.
Yeah, but I'm going to do mine in a British accent.
Oh my God, no. God,
and
no.
Fine, okay, boss.
And here I thought we had such a good thing going on, and then...
It's weird. I'm just going to hit this end to call button.
Yeah. And then block him. Yeah. All right, so you got it pulled up? We're ready? Okay, we're going to do this. Here we go. Nobility Edition introduces a host of new mechanics to play with. Central to the expansion is a host of new roles. 3 major roles contest for control of the imperial throne. The speaker, prime minister, and regent all represent the major political figures that seek control of the imperium.
As well as 6 additional minor roles, or 2 represent the central positions of nobility held by the custodians as they manage the imperium, each with unique powers and benefits.
Instead of relying on random chance, the players themselves select and vote on victory point objectives from 9 different themed objective decks. With over 170 objectives total, let your table decide what kind of objectives will shape the game you play to match your group's desired play styles. Exterminate your enemies, or quietly exert control.
Okay. How do I follow that up? A roundel controls the distribution. A roundel. I don't know what a roundel is, to be honest, Brass.
So I've seen pictures of it, and it's just like the last time I saw it, it was kind of like a circular thing. I mean, this is all just like on a TTS mod, essentially. Or whatever,
of
but
course.
it's like, but it's like a circular thing, and then it's got these 2 other circles that are kind of like connected to it, and there's like I think there's like 3 different sections to it, but it's just like a whole like custom piece that he designed to like hold and organize like all these new components that he's come up with.
Okay. Well, a roundel, the thing Brass just described, controls the distribution of political favor tokens and strategy cards.
Political favor tokens provide alternate lubrication of all the major economies via a simple set collection mechanic.
Civilian ships and traders sail across the galaxy, searching for riches and opportunities to fund their faction's efforts.
A 5th color of technology, purple, focusing on civilians and new Nobility Edition mechanics, is integrated into a modified, expanded, and rebalanced tech tree.
Diplomats, which come in the form of meeples, engage in bureaucratic and political maneuvering in city, the capital city, in the Mechatol Rex, as they directly represent your faction's interests and politically maneuver to secure critical support of various Imperial agencies needed to further your faction's interest. Powered by political favors as they wrest control of critical elements of government from each other.
So I think what he's trying to mention there is that there's like a whole thing with like the circle thing that I was talking about, the roundel. Like each of one of those has like a separate name, and one of them is Rex City. So it's like you've got Mechatol Rex on the board, obviously, like, and you control Mechatol Rex by having the space or whatever. But then there's this whole other part that's supposed to be like the city itself on Mechatol, and these like meeples with the diplomats and whatever. It's like that's a whole other thing that happens on this whole other thing. So you don't necessarily have to control Mechatol to be able to interact with Rex City. Yeah. Where are we at? New structures, from simple civilian facilities to moon-sized Imperial megastructures, provide greater strategic considerations, special abilities, and opportunities on the galaxy map. Convince the Imperium to invest and expand its infrastructure to promote a stronger economy.
An economic rework with true galactic ramifications for flooding the galaxy with your faction-specific trade goods. Exchange them, but remember, your own trade goods are worthless commodities if they come back to you.
So that, I think, is a really cool thing.
I like that a lot.
A very cool thing. Like, it seems like another step that, like, it seems like a natural evolution of like a Twilight Imperium mechanic. Yeah, totally. Like a logical next step to the trade goods commodities like system in itself. So I think that one's awesome.
I agree with that.
Events provide a galaxy and game-shaping backdrop and story, setting the stage for your space opera to play itself out on. Minor factions, exploration, Imperial meddling, political agendas, and more can trigger things that will require action by the Galactic Council. Events differ from agendas in that they are decided by resources other than planetary influence and do not originate in the agenda deck.
A host of new cards, exploration, relics, agendas, and action cards to tie it all together.
A variety of mechanical changes and other tweaks to ensure a cohesive and interesting gameplay experience, unlike TI4, but still rooted in the core TI4 gameplay and rule concepts, making it easier to learn. He's taking all of these core ideas and mechanics and just blowing up every single one. Just blowing it up and then creating like an entirely new other thing and then integrating that into this whole thing. It's like awesome.
I'm gonna be completely real with you. I've heard about this all in tangents, but reading through that, like, I mean, I'm very interested. That was my first time reading through that. I did zero prep work. Brass is the real knowledge behind this. I don't know what I do here, but
Word.
Yeah, no, that was incredible.
Got you excited, huh?
Yeah, no, it did. It really did. I'm very excited to talk to Phil here soon.
Totally. Cool.
Well, Brass, you gonna take me to my personal favorite space in this wonderful world of ours. I think I need to go shopping at the Mega Meme Center.
Oh, you want to go to the Mega Meme Center? You want to go to Brassbird's Mega Meme Center? Okay. Oh, man, you know what I just realized is that that one you tagged me for, like, just earlier, like, I was thinking that is so good. That needs to go in here.
You gotta work.
That's
Dude,
so good.
You don't have to have the number you have. We can have 6. We don't have to have 5.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
all right. Well, here's the thing is that I'm gonna have to do it in post.
That's fine.
I'm gonna have to. Okay. So this is gonna be a little weird, but here is the bonus meme that you don't see right now, but but I'm showing it to the audience right,
I know
right
where it is,
now.
buddy.
Oh, you know where it is. No, it's so good. You know what I love about it so much is that I just got done with like watching the new season of Better Call Saul.
Oh my god, okay,
dude,
we can't get started on that right now.
Don't get started on it, but I will say that Mike Ehrmantraut is the best character. 100%. What is just the best character? Just like got depth, so much depth, and he's just cool as fuck.
Oh, dude, we'll talk about this after.
Yeah.
I got to tell you I got to tell you my Black Lips story. We're gonna talk about this after.
All right, so that was your special bonus meme. That one didn't really count toward the whole thing. We are going to start the official Mega Meme Center right now. We are going on to meme number 1. Here it is. I told you we were going to talk about it. This was an incredible moment. There will be more details, don't worry. But there was a pivotal ground combat that was supposed to stop the Roses, and the little mech that could made it through the ground combat.
It was 3 infantry and a sustained mech versus 4 fully good mechs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. 4 healthy mechs died in this combat.
Yep. Against my team.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Frox's team. He's really sad about it.
2 in the morning.
2
in the morning.
You see, I
on
didn't.
A work night. Stayed awake because I knew this was coming. Thanks for bringing it up, buddy.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It's just like, you just have these you just have these moments where it's just like dice don't lie. You know what I mean? Dice don't lie. And we may as well go to the next one because it's so related. This is another one from Meme You Messin'. Oh wait, no, I got to say that this meme in particular was Brian. Had to put one of Brian's in particular from Meme You Messin'. First one's Brian. So this second one, this one's Simple, also on Meme You Messin', and I had to stitch these 2 images together, but it is.
Oh my god!
This is the moment.
So good.
This is the moment itself. As you can see, 4 mechs whiffed. The other side of the story is that all 4 of the Roses dice hit. It was full whiff versus full critical hits all over the board for the first round of combat, and.
It was a 1 in 32,000 chance that they won that combat.
Oh my goodness, 1 in 32,000.
Wow, something like that. Yeah. Yep. And we got to the 5 empties. We would have won even with breaking support.
Wow, incredible.
I'm not actually that butthurt. It's just fun to act that way sometimes. But no, it was actually incredible. And we were gonna lose. I'd rather lose like that than being eliminated. So there's that.
Straight up. Yeah. And it's funny to think about how the dice board may have been secretly programmed by Brian himself. I'm just kidding. All right.
I love that meme though.
Moving on to meme number 3. This one had to get Petra Medusa in. I really love and appreciate Petra Medusa's content. They're a great home brewer. They are a wonderful memer. And this one, I don't know. There's just some joke about a slice of pepperoni looking like a
Barbecue.
looking like a planet.
Oh my god, I love. Well, you know that channel,
barbecuing.
Barbecuing.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
barbecuing.
Yeah. Oh my god. This is fantastic. Oh my god.
It's great. And I think this is actually a legit the legit planet. I mean, this is the planet card with that symbol from their homebrew faction that I can't remember the name of right now. But it's like that's actually what the planet stats are for their home system, I think.
Oh my god, that's even better.
And then it just became this like pepperoni thing out of nowhere, but it just tickled me. It just tickled me. I really enjoyed it. Oh my goodness, I love it. All right, I think we're good to move on to the next meme. Meme number 4. This is our boy Stads. And I can't remember the genesis of this one exactly. Oh wait, no, I remember. I mean, it was when I was in like the pre-errata channel for the promissory notes, and I was talking about this whole idea because I was talking to one of my old homies when he was visiting me in Portland, and I was like telling him about the whole idea of like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, something. I think I was telling him about my prelims game, and then he was like, oh, we just have a house rule where you cannot give support for the throne for the 10th point. And then I talked, and then I talked about that in the pre-errata channel, and I think I inspired Stads to make this one.
That's incredible.
I'm just using my faction abilities.
Oh my god, I love it.
Oh, there's just so many layers to this one. I think like every vertical layer of the lines are just so funny.
No, it just gets better and better the more you look at it.
Yeah.
It's not even a question.
Absolutely. So big shout out to Stads here. Absolutely love Stads stepping in, giving me the ping. This is exactly what got this onto the Mega Meme Center was the ping and the quality of the meme, obviously. And we talked about clown fiestas, and there you go. There they are, the clown fiestas. Wow. All right, so I think we're going to go ahead and move on to meme number 5. Last but not least, this one's from Teaspoon on the Obligatory Memes channel. I think, is this like actually his dog?
That's actually his dog.
That's actually Teaspoon's dog.
That's his dog. He's been using memes with his dog, and I love it so much because he's so genuine with it, and it's just so good.
Oh my god! He just looks in his dog's face and realizes that there's a meme there. It's so it's.
Me are mean faces.
Oh my goodness! It's just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, beautiful dog, beautiful meme. You feel the emotion, and I also just had to put this one on here to give another shout out to Kaluan taking Manatee's home system, taking the shard for the win. You know, it's
Manatee. You're gonna feel bad about taking that guy's system because he is the nicest human being on the planet.
Yeah, no joke.
To be honest.
No, for real. Mm-hmm. All right. And that has been a very special Brassbirds Mega Meme Center. Thank you for sticking around for that one. A YouTube exclusive. If you're listening on the Podbean, you're not getting this hot meme content. For real. We are going to be talking to the one, the only, the legendary BigAlCupAChino. Going to talk about some TI Global League. And welcome. We are here. We are going to kick into our segment that we like to call Who's the Speaker Again? This time, it's BigAlCupAChino. The man, the myth, the legend, the BigAlCupAChino.
How's it going, Big Al?
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. Good evening. How are we?
Oh, it's good day. I don't even know what time it is right now. It's fine. Everything's good. Yeah, no, I'm doing great. We all got our We all got our food. Their food looks much better. I just have like trail mix and nuts. It's
Honestly,
like all
after
I
the
have.
day of work I just had, buddy, like I'd rather have your what was it on? You told us beforehand, but I can't quite remember. What are you actually having for dinner there, you DGen? A little bourbon and scotch.
Oh no, you're talking to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a little bit of bourbon is what
Oh,
I
okay.
have. Yeah.
It's the trail mix.
Yeah,
Oh, I
with
love it.
trail mix. It's okay.
By the way, Big Al, your
It's
pasta
okay.
looks absolutely divine.
Yeah, kid's favorite. Pasta and a bit of bacon and mushrooms, brown and white.
Oh man,
Give it to me. That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely
But,
incredible.
Big Al, we actually had like a little bit of a different idea for an episode this go around, but you dropped this bombshell on us about
Mhm.
something you were working on, and like, I mean, I don't think like we're best friends. I'm not like going out to grab a pint with you after work, but I thought I would maybe get some rumblings of this from you, but then just like right after the tournament, like what? So like what is it again? It's the TI Global League. Is that kind of what you're
Twilight
going to
Imperium
call it?
Global League. Look, over the last 6 months to a year, there's been a lot of conversations with different players one-on-one about a league. Some people dislike leagues, and we fully comprehend and understand why, because it skews play when you're not just playing for a win this game, you're playing for future wins and second places and points. But there's definitely a gap in the market for league for a lot of players who want consistent and competitive and structured play. And so this is where league kind of stems from. I've had the conversation myself probably with 10 to 20 people over the last year. Got some Rona, got all fatigued, a bit of time off work, and as I was coming out, the brains wanted to go, and I think it was just a perfect storm. So pretty much Friday last week or Saturday last week, it just got rolling, and I touched Lord Reddington, who was one of the other Weird Bears that had talked about it. Brutal as well had talked about it with me. So touched base with them as Weird Bears and just said, would you guys be up for this? Like Lord had done a bit of work on a spreadsheet before and a bit of a structure, and we just started running with it, and just got it out there. Just started a little Excel spreadsheet with the ideas that we'd had, kind of bring them into one place, and it seems to be taken off from there. Really, the vision that we have behind the TI Global League is that this is a flake that we add to your soft serve. Yeah, this is not replacing what's there. It's not about taking away from Gen Pop. It's not about taking away from SCPT or the Patreon or the Aussie Discords or Morning Euro. It's about giving an additional tool to players.
Okay.
So all of a sudden you're going, hey, if you're playing a Gen Pop game and you want to be in the league, and you say to the other people, hey, are you guys in the league? And 4 out of 6 are like, yeah, we're in the league and we haven't played our game. Hey, you want this to be a league game? Yeah, hell yeah. The other 2 players, you want to be in? Yeah, sign up. It's that easy, and it's an opt-in. You don't have to sign up. But where we have all these wonderful stats coming through on the partially shade stuff straight from the mods, it's great, but it's anonymous. And we don't get to have that path. Played a lot of Magic the Gathering. They got Planeswalker points. You can track all your games. You got multipliers. You go to a big Grand Prix, you get a greater multiplier. You play it on the local game store, you get a 1x multiplier. But you could go see your history, and you could see all these matches, and you had a sense of ownership. Funnily enough, the league rankings, I think, for people are more about their performance than other people. Yeah. And so it's really about having a low overhead structure in which we can deliver that first and foremost. And that's what we're now trying to build. So at the moment, we've been out there publicly. We decided to wait until after the final on Sunday, rather than take any wind from it. Although I've got to be honest, during Pizza Phase there was a few little chat click. Yeah, take the opportunity of a few hundred people watching TI, like-minded folk, and we're up to 92 signed-up players at the moment in the league.
Wow.
We have some structured games that will start. League starts on the 1st of September. It is 4 seasons a year. Each season has 10 weeks of league play where you're allowed 1 game sanctioned and qualifying per week. So effectively, players can play up to 10 games for the season. The last 2 to 3 weeks of league then become playoffs and finals and some fun setups, as well as in time, this global open league, everybody welcome, will feed into a Premier League of 36 players. And those 36 players will be playing a far more structured and have a greater obligation and commitment. Global League, I'll say it right now. Number one question I get is, how many games do I have to play? Because I'm very busy. And the answer is 0. You can play 0 games and be part of TI Global League. You can have your name on that ranking and it will be 0. And that's fine. Because, hey, when you get a game and some other players go, hey, is this sanctioned? You go, oh, actually, I am. Let's make it sanctioned. And all that sanctioned really means is it's 6 players.
Mm-hmm.
It's not homebrew, so its rules is written, and it's competitive. So it's not a learn to play. I can't go teach 5 new players how to play and win, and then say, "Oh, this was a sanctioned match. My ranking goes up." That's the spirit of competition.
Dude, I was taking notes right over here, like trying to see like how am I gonna juice my ranking, dude? Like, jeez.
Well, it's a high trust model, like so much of TI. In theory, you could go sign up 6 fake accounts and say, I'm playing IRL with my friends and I keep winning, and you could be the highest ranked player in TI Global League. So we're very aware that it's an easy system to game if people want to. And that's, again, this thing with League. So, yeah, we're at 92 players as I sit here now. We've actually got 7 games currently underway on the async Discord. So if you're playing async or you're playing a split game, whether that's TTS, Tabletop Playground, or even IRL, you could be playing split. We record the result in the week you finish. So you could have your game start now, you can finish on the 3rd week of September, and that'll be your week 3 result on the league table. Again, just all 6 players have to be sanctioned. They all lodge that result in that week. So you can't lodge your result and say, this is my game because I won it, but then other people in that game lodge a different game. Obviously, because it's all that game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so in that, with async, we're watching it really carefully. I don't want to have 20 people all in the same async game and then being selective. But I don't foresee many issues. There's maybe 2 people or 3 people that have multiple ones that could arguably finish in the same week. We also have one other allowance, which is a make-up game. If you miss your game in week 1 and you come to week 2 and you've got opportunity to play 2 games, we're more than happy to sanction one of the games in the second week being counted towards the prior week. We wouldn't let you come to week 3 and play 3 games because I don't want to encourage people to grind, get to week 10 and kind of just grind out 10 games and, this fervor.
Yeah,
we
that's
really
weird.
want this to be about balanced play.
We're not all burner.
Yeah.
Well, Bernard's very excited. Bernard just signed up. He was on the old Discord with me not so long ago talking about it.
Oh, man.
Wow.
And so, yeah, fundamentals would be, this is for competitive-minded players, but we still want to have fun. There's no money. There's none of that to really alter our motivations. We want to offer something more on the existing horns. So if you're a Morning Euro player or you're a Hellfish player out of Aussie, or it's like keep playing those games. Those can count towards League, but all of a sudden those names that are synonymous with these very specific play style, play group metas are being shared on the global list, and other people are going, I actually want to play against Deft. And I can see that Deft's in the game at this date and time and week 2, and they're playing this time every week.
Oh, word.
I'm going to get into that game.
Yeah.
I'm going to challenge myself, and I really want to see and learn and really look forward to seeing, say, Hellfish feeling open to going and exploring a different play style with other groups because they can see that these are good players, not necessarily going to Gen Pop. There's a lot of people who might not want to go to Gen Pop for whatever reason, and they find that they're running around in certain circles, certain waters. This is an opportunity to expand on that, to find new opportunities.
Wow.
Yeah. And then again, really cross-platform. So IRL, if you're playing IRL and you want to do sanctioned games with your group, welcome. Let's do it. I'm amazed by how big this game is. We've got Spanish and bloody Italian and French and Korean and Japanese and Chinese and Russian and Polish and German. We got all these copies out there, and these are people that we often aren't interacting with in the TTS community. I was watching the German bloody tournament this year. It's like crazy.
Wow.
And really looking to expand on that. So yeah.
Holy canola, dude, I love it. I love it. What comes to mind for me, Al, is like reflecting on like I don't know, I've been in the community for over a year now or something, but I had multiple reasons for wanting to join. Like the first reason was I was just like really getting tired of like my other like social media things that I had going on, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to join this community of nerds, and maybe that will be like enough social media for me. And it turns out it totally is. And I love you guys, but then the other part of it was really this process that I was having with like, I'm not getting the competitive edge that I feel like I want out of playing Twilight Imperium, because it's like I'm just trying to introduce my IRL friends to the game and be like, okay, are you into it? Like, you want to play again sometime? You know what I mean? Like it was just like so casual, And I was like, no, I really want to play against like good people, like that was such a huge drive for me. And if I felt that way, then there's plenty of other people that are like discovering this game and then having that same moment of like, I want to really like match myself up against some like competitive people.
Yeah.
And go into a match having that view that you're there to win. Same way as when you join the tournament. We all know why we're there when we join the SCPT Patreon tournament. Streamed 30 games and watched every game. 6 people come in and love it, and they were great, and they were emotionally regulated, mature individuals who had great games but played hard, good, solid TI. And unfortunately, the way the tournament's structured, you generally get one shot.
Yeah.
The majority of players get their one shot once a year, and this is an environment where, hey, you could have 10 shots in 10 weeks. As the play steps up, as those tiers of players really become evident, and there becomes that drive to play within certain areas, whichever one they be, it's an opportunity for people to have that slightly more consistent competitive play. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Tachos are delicious, guys. Highly recommend. By the way, in kind of our build up to this, I learned something incredible about BigAlCupAChino. So you were born and raised in South Africa, correct?
Yeah.
And then
20 years.
you currently reside in New Zealand, but you had your first ever burrito in Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah, Melbourne
That
TI
is
tournament a couple months ago. On my birthday, actually, first of May. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's incredible.
What a great
Oh, wait,
present
did you?
that you could get for yourself, dude.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. But
yeah, it was a good burrito as well. So yeah, and then look, if we're talking about that kind of detailed stuff, if you go back to the league, one of the most interesting things that we've had in the Aussie Discord, it's a very competitive Discord. Cool Guys is the best way to describe it. It's a dojo. Yeah, It's still about fun. You're going to go learn karate, or you're going to go Cobra Kai. I'd say they're probably a bit more Cobra Kai than Mr. Miyagi. I'd like to kick you in the privates, but it's a dojo. They really focus. They got the Academy for Learning, and I teach learning games, which is all about have fun and figure out the mechanics and live your best life. And when they do teaching games, it's like how not to lose your home system.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I need to
exactly.
how to take a home system, and they've got the whole vet system. The minute you win a game, you become a vet. And then when you win a game against all other vets, you become a vet 2. And then all vet 2 is a vet 3. And all vet 3 is a warlord.
You can get your black belt.
Exactly.
Oh my god, that's amazing. What was crazy to me is old Wolfbat. I think is his typical name. He changes his name from which Discord you're on, but he's an Australian guy, and he's the one who showed us the Cool Guys Discord. Like I didn't even know it existed, like at all. And I'm like sitting here, like over here, like in my canoe floating boats, and I get in there, and these guys are like dropping F-bombs at me, like when I just come in to say hi. And it's and what he told us about like the ELO system they use is that like the more points that were scored at the table, the less ELO you gain. So you literally want to keep people from scoring so you can progress more. Like
this is in league at the moment for the global league, we got the primary method is 1 point, you win. Nothing for playing, nothing for losing. So it's a real simple incentivizes winning. It's our primary focus. We're here to play games where people try to win. Because with many leagues where you award points for second and third, people, the minute they feel a little bit doomed, they go for, I'm aiming for second, I'm aiming for 9, to maintain a league ranking and their, a slot in terms of the games. But our secondary scoring system is exactly that Aussie scoring. And it effectively says the winner gets 1 point, and then in a 6-player game, there's another 6 points that get divided proportionate to your score relative to the total table scoring. So if you scored 9 points, the winner scored 10, and everybody else scored 1, you get the vast majority of that additional 6 points. You win first. If everybody scores 9 and somebody got 10, then that 6 points get shared pretty evenly across everybody.
Okay.
So you're rewarded for not only scoring high, but keeping other people scoring down.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's exactly what you're talking about. It's technically not the ELO because the Aussie scoring is on a per game basis.
Okay.
We then, what I'll say quickly about both those scoring methods is they reward multiple games. Obviously, if you play 6 games, you're likely to get 1 win in the first measure. If you only play 1 game in a season, you're not going to win. You're going to be at 0. If you play in the Aussie scoring method, 6 games, just for competing, you're getting points. And you play 6, you're going to have 6 times the points of somebody who potentially plays 1. We then have 3 scoring methods that do not reward grinding games, because there's a lot of people who say I might play 1 game a season. Absolutely, when you're ready to play that game, we're there for you. We'd love to have you. You might play 4 games over a year. This is what it's all about. Ease of entry, ease just to get in there. So they've got the average wins and the average scores per game. So that's something that normalizes over average games. But we also have an ELO, which is very similar to the chess ELO. And what it does is everybody, when they come in, starts at 1,000-point ELO. So if I sit down at a table with 6 people, it says, cool, we're all 1,000-point ELO. Our chance of winning is all that 16%. That's our expected win. The person who wins goes up by a certain proportion, and everybody who loses goes down by a certain proportion. But the next game we come together, this carries forward. So the difference between the Aussie scoring method is the next game isn't influenced by the previous game. Now we go in the next game. Now I'm at, say, 1,200 ELO, and everybody else is at 900. If I win again, I don't go up by the same 200. It says, well, hang on, you already won your first one, and you're playing people who are lower than you. We're not going to reward you as much. You obviously got some skills. But inversely, if I go and play a game against somebody who's got a 1,400 ELO, and I'm challenging myself, my potential to go up on a win is greater. And even if I get 9 points on a loss, I can actually be rewarded with a little bit of an incline.
Okay.
So the ELO is the measure from game to game to game to game that's going to carry with people through their entire lifetime of play. We might be sitting here in 10 years' time with folk like Magi who just play 1 game a season or 2 games a season, but if they're consistent in their performance, that ELO just keeps going up. Yeah. So I think really having all 5, it answers a lot of people's questions. And really, as I said at the start, this is about people measuring themselves and their career paths, having something for them to be proud of and to see and, drive home for their own sense of achievement and fulfillment in their love of the game and their passion for the game. It's not about necessarily beating the person above you, as much as we do want to beat the person above us, and that should be a big
ladder. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, you mentioned like the 3 levels of scoring, or like not scoring, ranking, maybe.
Yep.
Anyways, what is the dissemination like? What, like, obviously, like tier 1 is the one for the win. Like, what gets you into the Premier League? Is it like a
I was wondering the same thing.
I'm just more interested, to be honest with you. It's like, and I love it. I absolutely do. And like the competitive person in me who is not 31, almost 32 year old, who would have had way time to put into this, like, I would have eaten this up. I'm legitimately curious. Like, what gets you to that top 36, I guess?
Yeah. So at the moment, I'll be honest, the steering committee, the management team haven't put that stick in the sand.
Okay.
I can talk to the methodology that we currently have. A lot of that will depend on uptake. We could end up with 1,000 people signed up. In 1 week, we're at 92. Further will build through the first month of actual play as people actually play, realize how easy it is, where LFGs suddenly become sanctioned, just like the asyncs have become sanctioned. There's this fervor of activity, and if people see value in it, they're going to keep engaging. If we got to 1,000 players, and out of those 1,000 players, you're getting, say, 10 or 20 games a week, you're able to see who has the time to commit. Because our biggest thing about Premier League is that these are players we want to highlight. We want to celebrate the characters. Yeah. So just like we do with SCPT, and we talked about Def before, we talked about Magi, we talk about Humble, we talk about Teddy, we talk about Duke. We want these people to be part of that Premier League. We want people to be their character, meeting the people and watching those careers. We want people to sit at home and go, I'm back in bloody Duke this week because I tell you what, this is the structure, and he was on form last week, and and getting behind their players. In addition, we want people getting behind their factions. We want to see these factions come out week after week and have analysis, and we want to have people like Drago go away and say, well, this is what happened, and we're seeing far more data that we're able to measure, and we're getting these games streamed by Stream Team, and we're having Poet is doing bloody blog posts on it and analyzing this stuff, and really building on that 36. So everybody not in the 36 in Global League, it's just very much a fun get in, ease. Premier League is not that. And so one of the things about Premier League is the very first season will be invite. And it will be based on how many points you scored in the seasons before. So that's your first ranking, sort by points, sort by wins. Measure 1. Second ranking is if 3 people each have a win, they're each on 3 points, sort by your Aussie scoring method. So people who play more games do have a better chance of entering Premier League. Fundamentally, you might have an ELO of 1,800, but you play 1 game a season. Premier League isn't the place for you. Yeah. I would love you to come. I will be on the phone
because it's about the time.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Premier, my expectation at the moment would be 5 games played out of 10. Is 5 games out of 10 played in a season for Premier League is my kind of ballpark expectation. But I would love to see all those players go, this is the day I can play every week. I'm jamming 10 games. Because again, all the measures of Premier League that matter are more games played. Yeah.
Mhm.
So as much as in global league, the average games, the average points, all that stuff matters. It's not about exactly how many games you play. Premier, it is you are rewarded for playing games
Sure.
because you're part of producing their content.
Mhm.
And really the other thing is, look, DreamHack and whatever other conferences, whatever other IRL play might come into this in the future. We might be sitting here in 2 years' time, going to 10 DreamHack events every year, and those Premier players are going to be the ones that go. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
exactly what Premier feeds into is, hey, you committed to this, get on the plane, you come into Melbourne.
Sure,
We get some
sure.
Americans and some bloody next minute bloody Dukes on the plane and Devs on the plane, and who the hell knows? And it's having that kind of commitment to the sport. Yeah, it's funny when you say it, but Premier is sport.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm so stoked to hear you say that word because it was in my mind. I'm in my mind. There's just like this party going. It's just like yeah,
Well,
and I'm
the,
like, dude,
the
TI is esports, and what we're talking about right now is that we're talking about bringing in those elements that organized sports have that give it this kind of extra structure and extra like bones for the meat to hang on, you know what I mean? And we just got all these hungry players and all these hungry people in the community that want to
want to do stuff like that.
up.
I mean, it's
people
wild.
want to do this.
God, Brass and I became friends because of this stupid game, and now we're on a silly podcast talking to a guy in New Zealand who's creating a league. And this is all happening so fast. Like when you put it that way, it's like it's a board game, but it can be more. I don't know what the cap on this is, what it can be, but
my
I
estimate
do
is
think it's great.
200,000 IRL players worldwide. So that's not necessarily people who own a copy of the game, but people who would readily engage in a game given the opportunity. So these are people who know the rules, have played, and would play again. Yeah, 200,000 plus. That's obviously across multiple languages, and the TTS environment has its issues around, above table communication is key. And you're talking, 100,000 have downloaded the TTS mod. TTPG is taken off. You look at Async server, man, in a couple of weeks, just blooming. And the reality is that most of those 200,000 players are only playing twice a year or 3 times a year. It's a luxury to be able to get it to the table. It's a big game, and they might not be as addicted or committed or passionate. But I think this, again, embraces them as an opportunity and gives them something to consume the content. You don't have to be a Premier player to be enjoying what Premier is. And in time, who knows? Premier League may also, more televised stuff, more actual appearances, maybe travel and accommodation gets covered. We don't want prize money is like this big thing. We don't want people coming and grinding just because there's a payday. It has to be people who are passionate and have a love for the game. It's really trying to maintain that balance. And that's the other thing that I think will either make or break this is keeping it about community. Keeping it about exactly what we find flourishing in the Discords. I talk about this at the moment as a seed that's germinating. Yeah, the seed will be sprouting come 1st of September, and we'll see how it grows. But this could be a bloody forest. This could be a forest of board games. For all we know, this starts an entire league approach to board games. I know that individual board games do have leagues and have competitive environments, but that's really being driven by the proprietors of those board games. This is a potential to almost make a Sky Sports, or an eSpan of board games. A slightly different way where the focus isn't the digital game focus. Yeah, look, God bless Dota and all those other games, but they're very much person versus computer.
And it's lacking a social element that makes TI incredibly interesting to myself, at least. Dota and League of Legends. I played League of Legends at a fairly high level, and I never made friends with people that were in my area. I got asked to be on some teams for a tournament or something, but I never. Well, you know what I'm saying. And we're TI. I literally I have 12 hours. We're hanging out. We can't go away. Well, someone might get big the catted, but we don't need to talk about that.
That's my first ever elimination, man. I tell you. And they were talking about jumping the ship. I'm like, I'm not jumping. I'm getting eliminated. This isn't a moment in my career path. Anyway.
Well, sorry to bring it out, buddy.
No, I love it. Look, just quickly back to the Dota thing. So the Dota thing for me, even though you're playing other people, you're effectively playing a computer game just with human competitors instead of an AI because it gives a better play experience. For me, when I play TI, it's people. Yeah, it is really about people. It's a social, it's like going down the pub and watching a game of football. Yeah, we're congregated around the pub environment and around the football screen or whatever, but it's people. You go in there to socialize. And then somehow this game is glorious. and gets us to explore bits of ourselves we didn't even know existed, and ask ourselves questions around winemaking, and ankle tapping somebody and destroying their game, and things that we wouldn't do in our normal lives, and then talking to each other for hours and hours and hours about these philosophical bloody topics.
Oh, it's incredible.
I can't think of anything else that's even near it, you know. Anyway. I just quickly, while we're still on the TI and before we branch off, I'll just quickly cover off one or two other things. Most commonly asked question: how many games do I have to play for Open League? Is 0. Say that again. 0 games, no commitment. Sign up, and hey, if a game's happening and you're in it and you want to be part of it, fantastic. If you don't want to sign up, don't sign up. Yeah, this is opt-in, no pressure. I also just quickly cover again what makes a match sanctioned, because at the moment we're really loose on this, but as we go forward, we will start being strict. It's all 6-player, so even though the ranking is designed to handle a 7 or an 8-player game or a 4 or 5-player game, we feel that in terms of measuring competitive performance, it's far better to set it at 6 than open up those floodgates. As we know that the dynamics of a 4-player game versus a 7-player game, even if we adjust scoring accordingly, is quite different. So it's 6 signed up players in a rules as written, non-homebrew. So you can play 12 point. You can play 14 points. You can even play 4 first, 4 second, and 4 secrets. Technically, you mean to come and get permission. You mean to say, hey, I'm wanting this. Can you sanction it? And again, the reason we have that caveat of we've got to approve it is we may start putting in some restrictions in the future where we pick up problems. But I'm not here to kind of curtail any competitive play. And when asked the question, is 4-4-4 competitive? Hell yeah. And then the very last caveat is it's got to be competitive, no learning to play games. And I do not want to have people pretend to be 6 people at a table and, I won 5 games in a row. Other than that, it's at the moment, the Cool Guys Discord is our main Discord. If you're looking for constructed play, there's a number of games. I think there's 8 games up there at the moment for week 1. One of them's full so far. Deft's got a game with a couple of people looking for players. There's a couple of other players there at the moment. And we're still pretty far out from 1st September, so we're not going to go fan those flames until about a week out. But we'll be looking to fill those games. And then the popular time slots will just become regular games there. But again, if you don't want to play in that Discord, you play with your IRL friends, you play in the async, you play your splits, it doesn't matter. You know, this is just that added flake. If you feel like recording your results and your groups want to record their results and see how they go, that's what it's about. I'd also just like to mention, we got 9 people in the team at the moment that are all doing great work. And I thought it's important, I might be the big loud ass exhibitionist who likes to come.
Well, as you said in a message to me, you are a slut for the spotlight, I believe, is how you referred to yourself. But I resonate with that personally, so I get it.
So Elspeth, absolutely keeps us in check. Is a moderator of sorts, and has a vast array of experience with Magic and tournaments and leagues, and is a wealth of knowledge. So super grateful there. We got 4Burner and Murderous Troll out of the Aussie Discord, so they've had a lot of experience doing the leagues over there. A lot more kind of fun. They change the setup each month, and they definitely do the splits, which is the other thing, is they're very focused on splits. This is trying to go singular, even though we're not discounting anything else. We got Hint, who's working on all the website stuff. We've had Kahu and Bradley Sigma, who did all the math. Don't ask me how to work out ELO. I'll do the spreadsheet formulas, but I couldn't even read the math formula. I'm like, what's that symbol mean? My God. We got Sota Gabao, and then, as I mentioned before, Lord Raddington, Brodel, and myself. And and I just want to be upfront that there's more than just Big Al doing this. And then what I want to say is, really, this is community. We want to get to a point where we can kind of just sit back and the forms fill themselves and the website's able to, validate people's names, because the one issue we have is when people are put in that form, if they put in the wrong name or something, we've got to go look it up, but it's manageable. We'll take care of that. And at the moment, literally, you fill in a form and you should be able to pull up the results after filling out the form, and it will show your league ranking and it will be sorted. It's real time. Don't wait for the Wednesday release. The Wednesday release is audited. I take out all the bullshit, people saying kick my dog and whatever. And, I really look forward to seeing how we can blossom this and see where it goes. Get in there, get a game.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Well, I could just see it all just playing out, in my head, as you're describing it, and it's just so
it's
exciting.
Giving us material to talk about probably every week come September too. So every other week, because we're lazy and don't do that weekly release stuff. So I'm pretty excited for that actually. Brass, are you signed up? I got kind of bullied into signing up through the power of friendship, of course. But
it's I'm part of the the server, but I have like just not really checked it out. And like in all the stuff I've been doing, it's just like on very last on the list of like, oh, I should see what's going on with that. But no, I mean, I'm
It's
definitely
probably healthier for most people's lives to not hop
but
in
no, I'm
if you have an
definitely
addictive
signing up
personality.
though. No, I'm
Okay.
definitely am.
Oh, you
signing
are?
up.
Okay.
I
Yeah, we have
definitely
a
like.
we have a month.
As far as like where I am in terms of like how many of the 10 games I would like really want to shoot for, like I don't even know like where I'm at in there. But I would love to do, like I can definitely say I'd love to do a few, you know, because like
my
just like I was
my
saying.
entire goal is to have my ELO like 1 point higher than Spoon's. Like that's just like, and it's literally not like because I think I'm better than him by any measure, but I feel like that would grind his gears because him and I get some verbal like
yeah.
wits
Yeah.
matching, if you will.
I was gonna say that game for 42 that you were talking about, was that the one where it's like that huge lecture stuff that you had like shown me like before?
Oh,
like
it's a bunch of people with clashing philosophies on how to play Twilight Imperium.
Yeah.
Let me read quickly Moose's comment in a private chat, and I'm sure he won't mind. From, what are we talking, 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago?
Yeah.
This game has been educational and an eye-opener.
There you go.
And I'll be honest, I think that that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I talk a lot. I have stepped back to not murky the waters because even my peacemaking type skills feel inadequate at times.
Yeah.
And it's just people. It really is just people. And it's, a bit of round one, people feeling a certain way, responding a certain way, it compounded. Where we're at now, I would be interested to see if we can turn the corner. You know what I mean?
I think
kind of
we
review
can.
it. That the tables had to coalesce around a resolution issue. And exactly that. I think once we all go, together we decided this, and we actually did something together, like we chose to play a game together, and we can finish this together. I mean, is this the only game I've ever been in? Possibly.
This is my first game with you.
No, I'm just saying the first game that people actually talked about dropping the game. Like literally, I mean, obviously last round, people seeing who's going to win. I've had that, but and I'll be great if we can, keep going and
No, I mean, I am enjoying the learning from it because like I'm playing with you. This is my first game with you, and I'm learning a lot about tempo and like realizing what I have to do to get myself there. For instance, like you and I have been trading secrets, and that's something that I'm keen to do a lot of the time, but I'm realizing it's like your tempo's ahead of mine. Why am I doing this? Well, I'm desperate, and I have to do it to get myself in the spot. And like I know for a fact, like I don't want to go too into it because it may be 3 weeks before another turn in that game, but like what I appreciate about it is like I am seeing excellent tactical on the board gameplay from Micmac Moose. Like he is managing the economy, his token strategy, and like risk. He's playing
and stifling other people's advantages.
Yes, exactly. And like that's a legitimate way to play. We're not going to get into why the butthurtness happened on my own part. But then I'm seeing Big Al. Like I'm just like, hey buddy, can I have this? Yeah, here's some money. You need some dosh? Like you're a little short for tech? Here you go. Here's some money for you, man. It's fine. Oh, what's that? Like you want my alliance so you can score betray a friend? That's fine. Yeah, totally cool. And it's like the thing is, Big Al right now is in a very great position to win.
And this is why I failed, because you've recognized that. Then I'm still failing, you see.
Well, but
normally, normally,
okay,
if I'm giving everything and I'm still winning, and you don't realize it, then I talk about I'm only getting to 9. I won't even score that last point or whatever nonsense, and that's what boat floating is. Boat floating is a by a nose race. And strategically, your focus is how do I get my nose ahead? How do I break that last second?
In your defense, Big Al, your secret that I have parsed through, I think the only one the table has, is so obvious because you're SAR and there's something you're doing.
I mean, I'll say it. I've got 1 Docker SAR in round 4 or 3, and I've got 4 PDS on the board.
Yeah.
And I was very sad when you took construction instead of me.
Yeah.
And there's a reactor meltdown. That's like, oh, do you want to give Moose tech? Oh, yeah, I kind of said I'd sell him tech. Well, remember I got that reactor meltdown? Yeah. So was that an extort, or was that leverage, or
Yeah,
was that just
but
Big
like
Al
I
going?
think, but Big Al, like if it wasn't so obvious, I think like your style would work, except for I'm not gonna say niche situation because of course like there's how many secrets and you had that one, but
Yeah.
yeah, like that's why like, and I do actually do want to have you on a different think about the community like concept of boat floating and then hell mode, like because I want to get some Aussie guys on here. We're gonna have to put an NSFW tag. I want all the
Yeah.
cursing telling me about like how I play the game wrong.
Yeah.
I'm too nice, like, and I want my home system taken.
You
I
know
want
what's
to learn how to not get it taken.
You know what's incredible is that this show also is going to have arcs going on, and the first arc that's going on is this whole like discussion of like boat floating versus boat sinking that I'm like really fascinated by and really
like I don't
want
to take too much of your time, and like obviously like you were the first person to reach out to make these outros for us. But like in the middle of a show telling about a show idea, it's like I would love to have you on and like have another guy on and then have you both on a different day. Like at the same time to kind of talk about it, like in a civil discourse manner, of course, not like win making or anything. Just like, why do you do this? Like, do you enjoy the table that way? Like, I don't enjoy, like the feints and dodges and like tactically like that kind of thing. Like I don't enjoy that, but like I'm the ultimate people pleaser. Brass can tell you. Whereas Brass, like after community game 2, I've learned he'll be like, okay, this is how we're gonna like really like this. Like Brent, we need to take Diplo. Brox, we got to take Diplo because we got to beat their initiative. We got to. I'm like, buddy, we take Speaker. You know what happens if we take Speaker? We win the game next round. Like, but sure we can't pop their War Sons, but we win the game.
But then we didn't.
But that's it's
Yeah,
but
look,
we still get along.
To be honest, I'll throw this in very quickly, but I would love to have a deeper conversation because at the end of the day, we're all learning. For me, if that had been an IRL game, I would have had my 4 PDS secret face up the minute I drew it because it's bloody hard to score if people want to take you off it, and you saw and you're fucking around. But by showing it, it's building trust above table, and my whole game is people, and it's all above table. If I'm playing with Hell Mode Aussies, they don't give a shit. They're going to love kicking every PDS I put on the board, in the balls, and they're going to love it. And that's the thing is they relish that opportunity. They're just like Jackass, where they're doing stunts and falling down. And those skateboarders who like coming off the board and hitting them bloody, breaking a collarbone, never.
Yeah.
And but for me, I leverage the fact that then people feel really stink because Big Al showed his secret. I mean, so what if he scores a secret? But again, when they realize, oh, actually, this is how Big Al wins. Is the So I'm not going to say that my play style is without its pitfall. But then again, I would say one Hell Mode player against 5 boat floaters is got their own pitfalls, and being adapted to the environment is really key.
Certainly.
I've got a really interesting one at the moment where Argent and Carl has played with me before in other games. We're in an async alliance game. So we've been having a lot of chats, and Carl's much more a kind of morning Euro type player. And now we're neighbors and in a competitive game, and I'm Nalu, and I can go get Mechatol round 2 guaranteed, and he's going, well, I'm going to shoot, and it's going to cost you an arm and a leg because it's a point. And it's real funny because he got to, I want the 0 token, and I was like, I never give up the 0 token. Now he wants the 0 token. And what you talked about, competitive advantage, like that's the thing that will win me this game in 5 rounds time. And right now we're dealing with that in round 1.
It's incredible
and to me,
and I love that. I love that people think that far ahead now, though. Like that's why, like Brass and I, like I'll say it every week. We are the 3rd, 4th, 5th best players on the show at this table every day, and like even us two, who like he posts funny memes and I write Bob the Builder fan fiction. Like that's our shtick, right? We're still like, okay, we got to get the custodians round 1. Like, do we follow politics? Like, do we want to, like, are we in such a bad position where instead of following like Diplo or construction to set up for structures, are we going to follow politics? Like, we're having like these interesting conversations because it's fun and it's engaging and it gets us talking about like politics or like even like in 42 yet again because it's been such a philosophical game. We even talked about like the differences in language because of like what turns out to have been a harmless jab to me was taken in a different way because I'm from where I am. Like that's why I love this freaking game, Big Al. Like it's about people, and that's
exactly.
Well, as I think I said in that first outro, for me, it's an adventure. I used to do a lot of fishing, a lot of coastal fishing off vessels. And every time you went out in the water was an adventure because you didn't know what was going to happen. Yeah, you go to work, you got routine, you know what's going to happen. You might have some challenges, but humans like the comfort of routine. That's why COVID threw us all for such a bloody, You go into a game of TI and you don't know. You sit down to a multi-draft and you don't know. And who your neighbor is, you don't know until you roll those dice. And then these questions come. And then it's like, no, we should wait for the objectives before we really cement that deal. And we're trying to solve these puzzles. And it's ever-changing waters, and they run deep, and they can be turbulent, and they can be deceptively still. Absolutely love it in that sense. So, yeah.
Well, there is one thing you did misspeak. Brass and I know we're going to end up next to each other no matter how often the dice roll in whatever game of TI we play. And it's incredible. It's gotten to the levels of petty where I'm about to take an asteroid-filled DET token, even though he researched Animass to get it, just because I'm just like, it's funny. But
how does it keep happening? How does it?
Well, because you've obviously got a passion for it, achieving that. That had value to you taking that DET token, and then all of a sudden it's informing these decisions. We said in our RL group all the time, where you've got these wonderful camaraderies, and there's players who still haven't got a win. One of my players just in his 12th game recently got a win, and I've watched him. His first game was Turtles, and he was like, "I give anybody anything, and I'm the Peace Turtles," and I'm like, "Bro, it is still a competitive game." He was like, "This is co-op," and I'm like. And then I don't know, game 6 he was on Mentec. I know he did saw about game 6, and then he did Mentec about I don't know, game 8. Beautiful. I suddenly saw him flourishing where he's actually putting the boot in. You could recognize that I was just and I was winning on this 14 point, and as Mentec he was like just pummeling me and nobody else, and I was crying foul. He's like, "But you're winning." And he's now even teaching his board game group at university the game. Anyway, he got his win, man, and he got his winner's extra, which is the one that he loved at the beginning with the new Euro. And he's 2 weeks ago, two games ago, it was, "I want the Euro, I want the War Sons," and it's like, you can actually. I mean, this is the reality with the Euro now. You can go down this path, and he did it, and even his win was just beautiful, because me and another player, everybody thought we were winning on status 1 and 2 and whatever, and he snuck through with the Imperial. Nobody saw him coming to take Megatol with his 2 big ass War Sons, and it was, in that moment, you're just like, people live in their dreams, that motivation for play, and again, the accomplishment, the sense of fulfillment. That was one of the reasons why we didn't want to have this, like, you can just play infinite games, because there's a lot of people who grind, and then they still, their motivations are there, but they might grind 3 games a day, and it's, let's keep that wonderfully, the spirit of that, that absolute joy of the freshness.
And just speaking of, like, this made me reminisce, and I wanted to ask you this, and I think all 3 of us can maybe answer this, just because I think it'd be kind of fun. Tell me about your first win, Big Al, and then Brass, and then I'll do my own. Like, base game, like, we're going back to base game. Tell me about, because that is so memorable. Like, I remember how I felt, so I kind of want to, like, hear about your guys.
Well, firstly, what I will say, my funny thing with my memory of games is I play very much in the now. And so when I play single session, I kind of finish, and then within a day, it just drifts into the annals of that was in the past. But we had our first game. It was a 4-player. We all got together, and then the same group just fell in love with it. And I think we'd said we were going to play every month, and we ended up playing almost every week. We got together the next week. We were 6 players, so 2 more new players. We were still very much learning the rules. None of us had seen anything online yet. And I was playing Mentec in that game. And we played the whole game, and we come to the end, and I had Mirror, and we kind of were figuring this stuff out. And in fact, I believe Scott Solarian, who's one of the Kiwi players now lives in Sydney, was in Melbourne with me. He won, and he won because we scored in speaker order at status instead of on initiative. And the next morning at work, we played on the Sunday at my house, and the next morning at work, I was reading the rules and filling in all the. I was like, "Oh, hang on. Wait. We were going to score on initiative." And I was on the 2, and I won. So my first win has got a big bloody asterisk next to that bugger. so that is a win on my win record. My second game I put down as a win, even though it's asterisk like the hell. And Solarian can call it a win as well.
Oh, that's incredible. Wow. I love that.
Wow.
Brass, what about you? Was this in your, like, weird Humboldt County kind of, like, war gamey stuff, or did that come later on, or do you not want to talk about it?
Well, I mean, it's like, I just really don't have a good story, unfortunately, because, like, it really goes all the way back to I was playing 3rd edition when I was still living in Washington before I moved to California. So I think maybe even we were doing, like, base game 3rd edition. So, like, the oldest, like, because I remember, like, getting so stoked about the multiple expansions. So it was either like Shattered whatever Empire was, so like, already out or something like that
for, like,
a long time,
really long time.
A long time. I'm like really been into it for a long time.
Oh man.
But it's like we were just so dumb and just like into it, like, oh, everything is so cool looking, And it's like we're stumbling through the rules in the most like haphazard way. Like literally, I think the first 2 games or whatever, like we just did not understand like activation, and you can't move stuff that's activated. So like we're just like stomping War Suns around like, this is great. I'm just like throwing it everywhere, you know. And then we're like, you know, 3rd game in or whatever, and I'm looking at the rules and I'm like, oh my god, guys. This game is totally different than we thought it was, guys. Like, so I don't know. It's like I don't have a lot of good memories of like games that I've won other than like recent games, you know.
Okay. Like once you like knew the game, like your
yeah, for sure. Because then like it's like my whole story with like all my college homies and everything, that is like a whole nother kettle of fish, where it's like I like won the games where I was like teaching them. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then they were like, you were never winning a game ever again. is what they essentially told me. So
my gosh.
Yeah, so I don't have a good story, but I have just like a lot of funny memories is what I have.
My story is actually really funny. So my friends, we have a trophy, like a big, like it's like this tall. I don't have it now because I didn't win last year. It was the first POK game. But I won the 2nd rendition of it. You get it engraved, you get the round you won in, and you get the faction name. And I was SAR in round 5 in base game. And I just remember shaking. Like, because I had destroyed their greatest ship. I have chaos mapping. I'm like, I have the perfect setup. And like, they knew I was the only one who could win this round. And I like chaos map my flagship out. And I'm not destroy, unveil. I'm sorry.
Word.
And then my friend's is Nalu, and like he can win first action next round. Like, because we're a bunch of try-hard, like, Euro AM types, by the way. Like, Big Al, like, how you and I have interacted is not how, like, I grew up on the streets of TI, by the way. But like, he sees me chaos map this out, and, like, I only had, like, 2 planets at this point, and I had been stockpiling trade goods like crazy. And I get this ship out, and they're like, oh, he needs that for something. And, like, they activate me and send 16 fighters at me. And like I can't remember everything, but like I'm like, oh, like this is it. Like I have like this force and like 1 ground force like on Lysis, like what Lysis 2 or whatever the home system planet is, and I'm just like, this is it. This is for all the marbles. And like I can't remember my whole fleet, but all 4 of my AFB things hit, and that was basically why I won. But I'm like sitting here shaking, like between making the dread out and then hearing them talk, and like I'm just not saying a word. I'm like checking my action cards, like 9. None of them are useful, by the way. I think I don't remember all the base game cards, but it's just like, oh, I'm. And if you all have ever seen me roll dice like in our games, that continues to real life. Like I have in fact whiffed all War Sun shots, still won the combat, and then whiffed all War Sun bombardments recently. So like I'm rolling this dice in this game, and I'm just thinking about that, and I'm like, oh my god, this is how this is gonna go. And like for some reason, I got down to like my flagship sustained left, and he had 4 fighters, and I somehow won. And I don't know, like and that's like. I've never like that's why it's so visceral for me.
The closest finish. That is like that's such a typical SAR win though. It's like you have absolutely nothing, and you're just using the last drops of gas in the tank.
Like, jalopy.
Yeah.
Like
I had a Khan game IRL, and I was on Imperial, probably round 5, probably got off QDN. It would have been a pretty standard game, and everybody came to slay. I had 5 players come to slay, and 3 planet home system, and they were coming in and smashing in space. 2 people there, then the 3rd one comes in, and the other one retreats, and usual. And it was just full on. I was kind of like everybody had light. I don't know, it would have been base, and a lot of people have been playing Jolnar as well. So maybe there was like lots of lightweight, but it was just crazy. And anyway, and literally the 5th player comes in, and we're on the ground, and it gets down to infantry v infantry, and we both roll, and it's a draw, and I win the game. And it's literally down to this one dice roll, an entire 5 turns of wind slaying. And I mean, I don't woohoo and run around the store often, but I'll tell you what, like on that last 2 dice, their dice, my dice, go, both die, you know, and
I
moments.
made him drive me to the
Incredible.
engraving store
Yeah.
from
I
his
love it.
house to put my name on that trophy. I paid for it. He's like it was, we're like in college and like we're broke, and he's like, okay, I was gonna pay for it next. No, man, I'm paying for this now. Like that's
get
how
it done.
jacked
That's
up I was. So I
jazzed,
get that,
dude.
man.
Oh my
I
God.
I'm an animated person though, Big Al, and I wanted to circle back to one thing I did want to say, and like this is something I noticed. I think it was I was watching a tournament game, and it was one of your learn to play players. I think it was Paul was his name or something like that. He was playing Excha, and he misunderstood the become a martyr rule at the end. He was at 9, and he had shard, so he thought he left his home system open
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
he
he
was
thought
like
he was
his
going to
first game
score
ever.
it before he'd lose a shot. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember the
Yeah.
entire time, like you are cheering this guy on hard because he was in your learn to plays, and it's just like forming that connection, though. Like to me,
I thought you were going to blame me for not teaching him to become a martyr timing.
hell, dude, I had to post a PDS question today about when you use Mahawk Commander, does a PDS window open? Like when you do that, so like there's so many finicky
Does it
bits.
end
Like
turn before there's even an activation?
I'm just hoping you teach them how to like put command counters down, and like let them know
Well,
they can't pick infantry up from there. Like
in
that's
my prelim game one, we had Jono, who became my ride or die, who I'd never met before, and very, very proud to have had a ride or die who went on to win. So fuck yeah, Jono, join the league.
awesome, buddy.
But we had DL Soren was the other side of the table, who was also a student of mine. And so, the minute that's like you don't want to play that, it's you're kind of worried. I tell all my students, I say when you win the Space Cats, you tell them Big Al taught you everything. It's a little joke we have. I bet people want to pay me. They're like, send me your PayPal. I was like, I don't do this for money, bro. Like, 12 hours you want to pay my going rate, you can't afford it. Anyway, and anyway. But by the end of the game, I had become a martyr, and I just didn't have the movement as Cabal because I lost my forward dock. And the funniest bit was like, both my ride or die Jono, which is fine. Jono was prepared to one make me, I was prepared to one make them. That's what ride or die is all about. That game when it was even during the draft, because during the draft we realized we can be neighbors and one of us can be Saw, the other one can be Cabal. And we were like, this works. Why beat each other up? Let's win this. And so from that point in the draft, it was like, if he wins or I win, it don't matter. We both win. But then, DL Soren was Machat on the other side of the table, and he's trying to figure out a winemaker me, and I'm going like, this is a little bit bad, like student, but I mean, legit, he wants to winemake if he can, and I'm like, then happy to winemake him as well, but there was not much I could do for him. So, so I like I think that story continuing with the students is really interesting. Some of them catch up with me a couple of months later, and they just go, I've been playing and I've been enjoying it, and I've got my first win, or I've got this. I got ones that come back to me every 2 weeks and say, I'm in this game. What would you do? And I'm like, bro, you might be 5 yards ahead of me by now. Trust yourself, and it becomes more of a coaching role than a and it's really great. I mean, we've had some students who've pitched up from a lot of IRL play. One of them didn't know that as part of cleanup, you pick up all the tokens off the board. So they were gaining 2 triangles and then starting round 2 with all these things locked down. Like, what are you doing? Oh, no, warfare is very popular. I get to lift my token and move the fleet. I'm like, what? So it's crazy when you think, like, again, there's 200,000 players and how different people interact and digest it. Hopefully that Premier League content and just like Space Cats, millions of people have downloaded Space Cats. They're not playing on TTS. They're playing twice a year online. I spoke to somebody just the other day who really consumes them once every 6 months. They download a whole lot of episodes. They consume a whole chunk of podcasts from Space Cats before they go play their once or twice a year game. It's really about feeding into all those marketplaces and all those.
I hadn't even thought about the Premier League angle for that, but like I said, I was involved in League of Legends. Like once I started watching competitive play, I learned the game, and like I learned. I mean, I watched the tournament. Like I consume it probably as much as like above average, I would say. And it's like I've learned so much from watching other people play, and I didn't think about that for your like TI Global League stuff though.
I also have always dreamt of highlights. So you watch the news and you watch the football and you see 6 goals and you think it's amazing. And I often think of 5-day cricket. Yeah, the same kind of thing as TI. It's a long bloody game. There's 5 days. There's 5 rounds. How do we sum it up? I tried that 60-second summer thing. Never again. It's just crazy.
I loved it.
I enjoyed those, but I will say that, by the way, Al.
I loved
it. Like I know
man.
you said you're never doing it again, but I personally, with my severe ADHD, loved it.
Loved it.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know. I was a fan.
I think the thing that it is to do the roundups takes time and takes money. And when during the competition there's the next game in the qualifiers, the next game in the prelims, doing 10 hours of post-production on a single game, and even maybe 20 hours. And even if we save the clips during the games and we put them together, you've got to write a little bit of a lead in to put the context to that clip. It's not just, oh, yeah, somebody rolling good dice. It's what happened to there that matters. And then and follow a lead out. But with Premier, people are invested in those players. They're invested in those games. Those games mean something. You take the time to do your 15-minute highlights or your 30-minute highlights of 5 games during the week that did get streamed. You do it this week. It counts towards every week. Because when we come to the end of season, I'll swing back to TI quickly because this is the most exciting part from my perspective. You end up 3 or 4 seasons from now, a year from now, you've got a Premier League. There are all these name players, a whole lot of new players we never knew existed, hopefully up there, beating it out with Humble and Magi and bloody Duke and Deft and whoever. And if they get to the end of the season, the thought at the moment is score no wins in season, you go to a relegation game. And the relegation game is the top from the Open League, top 5 players get to play against one Premier League who's getting a relegation game. If the Premier League wins, they stay in, and if they lose, the winner gets in.
Oh, that
so
is
basically, you play Global League, you get to the top, and you have an opportunity to play a relegation game again. So it's now 5 nobodies, inverted commas, against one Premier player. And that to us is like very exciting. So that like week 11 and 12 is like relegation week.
I think like that is my like, oh my God, I would watch that game. I would wipe the schedule out. I'd get me 3 orders of tachos, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Here we go. We're watching that game.
I can see Humble going, I better get in a few more games I haven't won yet. Halfway through season, he's been a bit like, I got to get in now. Teddy going, no, don't worry, bro. Just play the relegation.
My buddy, and like, oh my God, that guy wants to win more than, like, I know they said that on SCPT, but that is so true.
He's got hustle.
I'm passionate, but he is.
Oh, he got hustle, man.
Passionate.
Again, to me, that's what Premier is about, because there are people that would turn this into a career if the opportunity was there, and with passion and love, not just chasing the dollars. And again, love the Patreon tournament. I wouldn't do it any other way, because trying to do 3 matches and take the high, it's just 3 times the work and complications. And I mean, we were literally getting subs, not even from the waitlist, but from Gen Pop, waiting for games to start. It is a hell of a thing, and a big part of how we're trying to structure league is far lower overhead, and opt in and just jump in. But I know that those players who are that committed and have those skills, once they realize that it is structured and robust, will really benefit from knowing, hey, every week, 10 weeks of a season, I can come and smash and really test myself, and I can get my ELO, whether it's 2,000, I don't know where it stops, the math's beyond me, but we'll see that really come out over time. And that's where I hope to be post 2023 Patreon. This time next year, I hope we've got 3 or 4 seasons of results, and we've got these folk that are really, whether there is Premier League or they're just top of the rankings, that are seeing that opportunity to test themselves. And like Matt and Hunter recently spoke about on the episode, how the game has progressed tournament to tournament to tournament to tournament. I hope that this allows us to get incremental improvement right through the year, not just those step changes that the tournament brings.
Kind of like the social implication that would bring too. It's like, I mean, we always joke about those gossipy, like, oh, they got beef or whatever about like these 2 players or something. But like TI really brings out, like, I mean, it's emotionally draining to play Twilight Imperium in one sit down session.
Big time.
If you're taking it seriously, let me rephrase that, because sometimes we're just slinging the Van Hog out at people and that's fun. But like, and I can really see, like, if we're reaching this high-end competitive level, like, I know emotional maturity exists and like plenty of people will be fine, but there are gonna be people who want it and they really want it, and you're gonna draw the wrong action card at the wrong time, or someone's gonna have bunker when you're going for the kill, and that's just, and they're gonna hold that against someone, and it's gonna be like weird to see, like, because this community is very tight knit. I feel like everyone knows everyone, and I feel like fairly drama free across for the most point, and very mature, quite frankly. Like, I think not to put it this way, as far as like esports go, we have like kind of an older audience in this, like I'm in my 30s, Big Al, you're older than myself, and then like probably the youngest person I interact with is Cages, clearly, but is he going to be in the Premier League? And I'm just really interested to see how like that sort of thing will develop too. Since Brass and I's show is about the people, That's like something I've kind of thought about as we've talked. It's like, I mean, that would be really like what we would talk about. We'd maybe list through the rankings a little bit and talk about some interesting results, but I think like that would be more of my interest personally, like the
In terms
interactions
of
and like people's play
characters
styles.
developing, though, I do think that the salt can be evident and present, and the spice can be evident and present without it resulting in a lack of regulation of emotions. So what we're talking about is these professional feuds. Yep, you look at boxers and they stand off and they're like, oh, I'm going to punch you, and they're standing off and they're getting paid to do it, but they also mean a lot of it. And you think about regular playgroups. You talked about your playgroup went towards the morning hero. It's a very natural progression. Yeah, people start off all fun. They're learning. It's like, oh, just fun times, and slowly people start winning more, and then other people start chasing them, and then that gets them better, and your group moves from a let's all make this easy to 10, let's make it hard to 10, and what you'll see in the league is those same kind of meta developments, and I'm looking forward to that. And as you say, it's about the people. So that if Duke and let's say Humble are meeting every week for 10 weeks, and obviously with 36 you don't want the same two people meeting every week, but they're going to meet a couple of times during a 10 match season, and they're like, yeah, last time you bro, and I watched what you did with Def last week, and that's some nonsense, and we're not, and they can talk that good game coming into the new game. That legacy aspect's part of it. Still emotional regulation and professionalism, but hey, let the salt put it on there, put a bit of spice in there.
Especially since there's no money involved. I think that's like almost what you want out of it, right? Like it's like, I agree with that. I really agree with that. But yeah, we have been going on, and before we got started, I did ask some people some questions if they wanted to ask you any questions. And if do you mind if I take a second and ask them, and you can give me like a little brief summary, or even I can give you who they are, and you can shoot them a message if you so deem. But Truth, who is one of my best friends in real life. He's one of your biggest fans, and I know some you and him have interacted at times, and he wanted me to ask you, what's the most important skill to master for success? His included examples are like, is it table management, speaker games, winning the draft, knowing how to win from behind, knowing when it's good to make a gambit? Like what do you think encapsulates like the one skill you just really got to grind out and work on?
Okay. I don't think it's making a gambit. A gambit is a very specific moment in time. Me and Stads had an interesting conversation, mostly in chat, Twitch chat, about this, where I was like, games are won above the table, and Stads added or expanded on and said games are won on the board, but they're lost above the table. And I think that really encapsulated what my philosophy is, which is if you don't have table permission, they will coalesce to beat you up. If you're a not nice guy and everybody else has got along and you've just been a little bit of a prick, they're going to come at you. So I'd say the skill that wins games is managing the above table relationships, accepting that this is a social game. That would be my go-to. Yeah, I mean, there's so much more to it. I'll just quickly talk about a slightly different skill that's not specifically in-game, but the other thing that I really think that we have in TI, it's about weighing up risk and reward. It's about investments. Yeah. Do you invest in technology round one? Do you invest in a ride or die relationship? Do you invest in plastic? Do you invest in fun? Do you invest in winning? These are all these decisions that we're making at multiple levels, on the board, above the table, and beyond the game. And once you start understanding that, you stop penalizing yourself and you learn from the outcomes from your decisions. Yeah. So the other thing that I'll say that really helps people get towards winning, so a skill I would say is above table relations. But the thing that gets people towards winning is trusting your intuition, but also understanding that you've got to build your intuition. And you learn from both your mistakes and your successes. And if you understand that every decision is an investment and you look at the outcomes and you can understand why you made that decision in that context and what you may do differently, you improve. Yeah. Like compounding interest. Not every stock goes up, but over time you can. So those two concepts, I think, both apply to that question.
No, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And then this one's a little more fun. I think I really like this question, mostly because of what you just said about above the table thing. And it's like, Big Al, what would you rather do? Would you rather have like a really good faction on a poor slice, so you really got to work for what you're going to gain, even though you have some innate advantages? Or would you rather like be bad and kind of be a used car sale, like be a bad faction like an Arborek or a Sardak, and have like a lot of resources, but like not a lot of ways to make money like yourself or something like that? Like, what would you rather prefer? To be honest with you.
I have played too much Saw.
Okay.
I have played too much Soul. I've played probably too much Joel now. Reason why is when I'm faced with a draft, and we often play Backdraft IRL, and probably half my games are IRL. I don't give a toss about slice. Yeah, I will draft a certain slice, and I can. But for me, playing SAW and not having to worry about my home system because I play extremely light, relying on above table diplomacy and people believing my nonsense, it's great.
I mean, you're right.
It's a struggle to go beyond. Well, you got to know your own flaws. You know what I mean? Like the biggest thing is we delude ourselves. It's a whole game of deception, but don't deceive yourselves. Understand your own weaknesses. You know.
Wow, dude.
So
Yeah.
I'll say that for
Mhm.
competitive play. Yeah.
Yeah.
That said, I sit down often to a game and I'm like, who ain't I played lately? And you know who I neglected for so long because I do love playing from my head. I like having the table chase me. It's exciting with the dogs at my ankles or I'm naked Winnie running across the field and the fucking security's coming at me. Love it. All about the people. But I'll sit down and I will play an Albrick. And I love Albrick. Don't get me wrong. I love him.
Mm-hmm.
But those games aren't about winning. It's about getting the most out of Albrick. Yeah.
Mm.
And it's a different motivation. So I'll say if I sit down to a game and I want to win, I'm far more likely to choose a strong faction in a terrible slice. I would much rather use my above table negotiation, get something for nothing to make up for a terrible slice than I think I could do more with the Joel now. Like, I mean, even 2021's prelim, I sold my research agreement, I think 4 times in round 1. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like,
okay.
you know, I don't need a slice.
Incredible.
You know, I can get what I need. And if I can't, I've failed myself at the table. When my IRL table goes, don't listen to Alan and actually do the opposite, and it's all lies. And in fact, it's never lies. It benefits me, and I've never said it doesn't benefit me.
Yeah.
They're still doing something right. I've got to figure out how to change my gameplay. So, short version to that question is, if it's competitive play, I'll always go for a stronger faction. And hey, if my motivation is I'm sitting down to an LFG and I'm just putting my feet up and it's having fun, anyone bring it on. And I'll quickly end with I totally undervalued Desal. I went and checked my stats, and I think I'd only played them twice after about a year and a half, or about a year of play. And I've since jammed them. And of course, you play them from behind, so they're totally outside of my wheelhouse. But I love them. I mean, honestly, the shenanigans those gobbies can get up to, and thank you, Elspeth, again. She taught me that.
Mm-hmm. Have you done the Spynet trick where you're like, I want to sell you this action card, buddy? Here, take some Spine. I love that so much.
That is what I'm saying about that above table is where it's all that from. I couldn't care what the slice is. Give me a slice, take on my planets is when it let me figure out the solution, because exactly there, these mechanics and the puzzle box allow me to go, hey, you need parlay mode because they're coming for you. And even though I'm giving you the out, what can I get for it that gives me an increase, you know? And that's that investment. You've invested in a relationship, in the card in your hand, in Spynet. Love it.
Right. And then third and final question that we kind of gathered in. Our buddy Little Green, Hadrian, mentioned a little earlier, he's teaching his friends. And it's actually, it's Friday the 5th today. Tomorrow's the 6th. He's teaching his friends tomorrow. And I'll probably peep him what you're saying now after this. What's like a real good, what should he focus? Like brass tacks. I know I don't need a full on, because we've talked about this before we started shooting. Like, I know there could be a whole episode about the concept, but brass tacks, if I were to have a one paragraph answer. Yeah, what should he teach?
Get them to watch the RTFM videos, both base and POK, night before. Sit down at the table, talk about the fun, and then express to them this game is about scoring objectives. So a lot of new players, they don't really have that sense. Do whatever map setup you've got. If they can pick factions before, they get a read up, they get invested, they get all excited. It's a lot of fun. I often will say to a new player who says, I want to play my hut, I say, look, my hut's this. I would suggest somebody else. If they want to play him, let them play him. Don't deny people their fun. If they're going to have a shitty game, that's fine, because they wanted that. Autonomy is super important, even when you're negotiating a deal. We pop those publics, and then I'll be, cool, look at this. We got to spend 5 trade goods. This strategy card's just gone up. At this stage, we haven't even looked at strategy cards. Oh, look, we got structures. This is the strategy card. And then we go to picking. And at that point, we start teaching the value of a strategy card. So it's in the context of the moment. We don't talk through exactly how to resolve a strategy card, but we'll say, hey, the one that gives you a structure is probably pretty good. And very briefly, we'll say, like, leadership gives you more actions. You're simplified.
So
and the
teach
whole
as it comes up. It's
Yes,
kind of like
teach
what
as
you're
it
saying.
comes
Okay.
up, and don't get sidelined, because the
Mhm.
bigger problem is I've had students, and I called the one class was the university class, God bless them. They took 16 hours, but when they were doing a build, they wouldn't say what should I build. They'd say speak to us of fleet composition, and I'd say, well, you're barony, so you're going to end up with non-Euclidean, you're going to want some bloody dreads, and he'd say, what if I was SAR? And you don't want to cut them off, but we ended up with a 16-hour game.
Mhm.
But yeah, staying in the moment, staying with what's relevant, and teaching players to quickly assess each turn what their options are. So many people are looking at this whole faction board and thinking the whole round. Well, no. Turn one. Are you doing a tactical action or not? Yes, you are. You're not going to pop your bloody card unless you're trying to cut somebody off. So it's, look, and then you got a choice of 3 systems because you've got to move one. It really is that simple. It's A, B, or C. Just keep trucking, keep going. And mistakes are fine. Mistakes can become overcome. And when we pop the strategy cards, we really do deal with them. We go through them. We pass them around the table. If it's IRL, it's a great advantage over TTS. Trade, take it slow. Everything else you can basically rush because they either get or they don't. But trade, take that opportunity of I'm passing this to you, it's flipping. We have to do it in the same window. You can't give it to me and then you give it back. If they can understand that with trade the first time, it helps. And what I would say is your success measure is at the end of round one. If everybody's able to do a tactical action, which is your number one focus, don't worry about strategy cards and strategy. Don't worry about component actions. If they can do a tactical action, if they figured out production is step 5 of a tactical action, point to the sheet. Teach them to read the sheet. Point to where move is and what a cost is on the sheet so that they don't have to ask. They feel empowered. All the knowledge is there. All the information is there. By the end of round one, probably talking 3 hours for a learning game, they will generally be sorted. If they're not, they're probably not going to be playing TI again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Damn, round one strategy card timings. Best part of TI, right?
Seed objectives is not a bad idea either. There's nothing worse than in a learn to play getting like 3 outside of home,
two attachments like as the first one.
I like one of the 2 techs. I like a spendy because a spendy always encourages trade round one, so it might be a spend 5 or a spend 8. I might even mix those up, so I don't know what's coming. But generally, I teach from the 7th seed. I don't play when I'm teaching. Spendy, 1 structure, 1 tech, and you're also teaching about planning ahead because they might get the tech round 1. You say you're not going to score at round 1 or 2, but you can plan. It starts teaching them that thing. So I was very surprised. There was an episode of SCPT that I listened to recently. Actually, I might have been going back on the old fireside chats, and somebody was talking about that, planning into round, and I was like, but like, how would you not plan into round? And then maybe that's example of how far we've come. That might have been a 2-year-old's fireside. And in those days, it was like a novelty to be thinking 3 rounds ahead and be talking about it from a strategy perspective. Whereas now we're talking the end of the game.
Yeah. The game hasn't even started, and we're talking about the end of the game.
Custodians, and now I'm like starting to do it more. But I'm just like, oh crap, people are going to be mean to me for the rest of the game, or less nice, I should say, because I took custodians. And
just get them all a point though. You get custard. The next guy next to you, he gets Imperial, and then she gets bloody Imperial round 3, and you got to sell them on the dream. Keep them focused on their own path. Don't let them look at you.
You're a devil in sheep's clothing, my man.
My most sneaky win, I was playing as red, and I had or did I get red support for the throne? Anyway, so I had 2 secrets down and a red support for the throne IRL game. So everybody looked and they thought I'd scored all my secrets. And so they figured I could only get to 13. And I still had a secret in hand, but because it's IRL, the secret's on the desk. So that it's not in your hand. Yeah. And then when I went to win, they're like, but we thought you'd scored all 3 secrets. I was like, no, I've got... it's a support. And I was like, well, that's not on me, but it felt real stink. I still feel like a little bit nasty. I didn't do it on purpose, but
no.
Oh my goodness,
for sure.
man.
Well, Big Al, thank you so much for coming on today.
What a pleasure.
Unbelievable, actually. This was an incredible conversation. Just got into the depths of the human spirit, as you so tend to do. Russ, do you have anything you want to add, my man?
Not much other than I just love hanging out with y'all. Big Al, you have been pretty much like one of my favorite people in the community for a long time now. For a long time now. So such a pleasure to hang out with you. Would love to have you back anytime.
Well, we have you every week.
What I'll say is, look, you guys and everybody who's gone out and done all these endeavors, all these ventures. All that adventure going into the unknown is absolutely amazing. And I mean, it just shows you the boundless possibilities with the sport, with this game, with this community. And good on you. You know what I mean? It's a big endeavor to take on, and it's a lot of work, and we really enjoy it. I've really enjoyed the fact that this is on YouTube. The podcast is all audio on the way to work, but this one, the second one, I actually specifically went upstairs, put on the upstairs TV, and just enjoyed it. I was unpacking a board game from Kickstarter, and I absolutely loved your second one, and I really look forward to all the future content.
Excellent.
Really great way to deliver it.
Damn.
Wow.
Personalized.
So awesome.
No, I appreciate you, man, and I don't even know how we're gonna go to you from about 5 weeks ago, talking about a wonderful topic where you were soliloquizing some splendid advice. Yeah. And hey, this has been community formation, and we appreciate all of you all. Yeah. Thank you, Big Al.
Let's chill
guys.
with BigAlCupAChino.
Twilight Imperium is a stage, a setting, and we are but her players. What we do for all these hours together is a form of performance art, improv, a beautiful collaboration. When we come to appreciate the saga, the opera we produce together, the highs and lows, the crescendo and the afterglow, we can make peace with not always getting the big W, the fame of being the soloist for that specific performance, and instead suck the marrow for the whole endeavor. Yes, competitive play is often a core focus for us. However, this should not be at the expense of our holistic upliftment and social fulfillment. Let us keep this in mind as we navigate our in-game board states and above-table relationships together.